piggy penguins? This is NicoB, and I'm back from another little trip to the Capcom headquarters, where I got a unique opportunity to check out some of their latest games. And while I did get a chance to play some of these, like Pragmata and Summer Games Fest, onimusha and Resident Evil 9 were two that I only had a chance to watch there. Basically, I watched one of the Capcom guys play it for us in like a little theater room. But this time I actually got to get my hands on all three of these games myself and get footage. So over these next few days, I'm going to be going over each of these games, talking about my experience with each one, showing off the footage that I got and my feelings on it. Because I think all three of these games bring something very interesting to the table and have a lot of things going for them. And I also think that there are things that I hope to see from them when the full game arrives. So for the first games I played, let's start off with Onimusha, Way of the Sword. So I'll say right off the bat about this game. Out of all the games I played, this is easily the most gorgeous game that Capcom is working on. It might actually be the prettiest game that I've actually seen from them, period. Like, this game looks insane, both in the color palette used in the environment and characters, and in just the amount of animations that Musashi here does at any moment. Like, seriously, there is an animation for like every angle of block that he has, whether he's hit from behind, he does this cool thing where he blocks from the back or from the side or whatever. When he parries an enemy, it's the most satisfying thing to watch him draw the enemy's sword with his own blade and then do it enough times to where he sparks out and it lights on fire. And this is something that I noted back when I saw this played at SGF, but now that I've actually got a chance to play it, I can say with confidence that this game feels very good to play. Compared to the old Onimusha games that had all the tank controls and everything to use to move around, which did get updated in later HD patches, but this game definitely feels better in terms of being able to control my character. And they did a lot of changes to the Onimusha formula to sort of make this game stand out and feel like a much more modern take. And I'd say the thing that they really did is that they basically made everything a parry. Like, there's so many parry mechanics in this game that require specific timing. There's, of course, the regular parry, whereas you block at just the right time and draw the enemy's sword away. And you can actually do that and then knock them into the wall behind you, allowing you for an instant kill. But there's also the deflect, which you can use to deflect arrows and things like that back at the enemies. And then another one that I wasn't even aware of that was happening, because it wasn't even given a tutorial in the game, that I was only told about afterwards. And that's perfect dodging. Yeah, there's perfect dodging in this game. And the interesting thing is it's actually more of a spot dodge. Like, you don't necessarily need to like dodge roll out of the way of an enemy attack. You can just stand in place and he does this cool like movement of his body to avoid an attack. And the movement is actually sort of dependent on what attack reaches him again. And again, just looks incredible. It just makes you feel like a super badass. But if you stack enough of perfect dodges together, you'll actually get another cool instant kill attack. It fills a little gauge down there in the bottom right. So the one in the far right is the dodge one, and then the one on the left is the parry one. If you do, I think 3 perfect parries, you'll get a buff to your sword. And of course, you have the iconic Ishin move, the one-hit kill move that can kill any enemy in a single hit, but has incredibly strict timing. Basically, you have to attack just before the enemy hits you, and the timing is pretty tight, but goddamn is it satisfying to pull off. But another thing I've seen a lot of people ask, and thinking that I was also feeling might be the case for this game, is this a Souls-like game? And I could say with 100% certainty after playing it, it is not. Not at all, actually. I'd say if I had the biggest comparison of how this game feels when you're playing it, it feels most similar to Ghost of Tsushima, minus the rock, paper, scissors aspect of that game. But the swordplay itself does actually feel pretty similar, just how you're parrying and attacking enemies. Not to mention the insane animations that Ghost of Tsushima also had that made it so satisfying to fight enemies, even if the actual combat itself was a bit more basic. I think this one has a bit more going on though, just with a lot of those executional based things that lead to these really cinematic kills. Because you see, every enemy in the game also has a stagger gauge, which is essentially the little red bar beneath their HP. So if you break that or hit them enough to the point that that bar shatters, you get this cool execution on them. And while I will say that most of the enemies that were in this build were pretty damn simple, like it really wasn't hard, you could easily just mash square for a lot of them and they just die. I think there's a lot of potential for some really cool, like genuinely fun challenge down the line as you start getting bigger, harder enemies that take more time and are more difficult to parry. You do fight a boss at the end by the name of Ganryu, who is absolutely the Virgil to this story, as he is blue and you are red. I see you, Capcom. And he was a fun fight, albeit also not super challenging. And I think I also learned, and I thought was interesting, is this: you seemingly can parry just about anything. Like, he'll kick you with his foot and you could parry that too. So it's not like it has to be a sword. It's like you can just parry anything. But it's nice if it's like a combo attack, you'll only get the actual full parry animation if you do it all the way at the end of his combo. And in fact, if you break his gauge, you can actually get this choice between attacking his head for major damage or his chest for like extra souls and stuff. So it's cool. It was a fun fight, and just, God, I can't get over, dude, just how good everything looks in this game. All of these animations are so fluid, it's insane. Some other small things to note: you can pick up items off the ground that can heal you. A lot of the exploration in this game, which was not too bad, there was like a little bit of branching paths, but they generally led to these regenerative items. And then you also get these like little pill things made from plants that you can find that simply act as your like major healing. You also get this set of dual blades that you use as for like a singular attack that it's like almost like a super gauge. Down there in the bottom right, you hit R1 and use that on an enemy to knock like healing souls of the enemy. So I don't know if that means that the weapons we get in this game are all just gonna act as like supers and you're always using the blade. I kind of hope that isn't the case, because I think that was one of the cool things about the original onimusha, is that you would get all these different weapons that you could use to just attack and fight enemies whatever you want, and they'd be like, you know, really heavy attacks or really light attacks or something. Oh, and speaking of that, there's also actually a heavy attack button in this game. Yeah, there's actually like not just spamming one button, which is usually just square. There's actually, you can actually press triangle in this game, a la like the older God of War games, and I guess even the new one too, where you get basically a light and heavy, so you can do like square, square, triangle, triangle, or square, triangle, 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 which is good. I like that kind of combos in my action games. But the two-handed weapon, that's what they call a heavy attack, is two-handed, is good for when you want to break like the enemy's guard. Oh, and when you absorb souls this time, you don't have to stay in place. Yes. Unlike Onimusha 1 and 2, where you had to like basically sink your feet into the ground and stand still to absorb souls, you could actually move a little bit while you're absorbing them, which was surprisingly nice quality of life change. Game's also very cinematic with a lot of cutscenes. I actually kind of like the English dub, with the main character having a little bit of an English accent.
Right, Gordon lady. Enough of that.
Though you can switch to the Japanese dub if you so desire, and I'm sure that probably also sounds great, though I didn't actually listen to it myself. Not sure whether the game is going to have like a ton of puzzles like the original Onimushas did. They were sort of like Resident Evil-like in that way, and that between the combat bits, there was always like things to solve, doors to open, things like that. You did get a little part here where you use like essentially your Oni vision, or like eagle vision or whatever, where you essentially see a strand that extends from a door and then like destroy the thing at the end to open it. But that's really kind of like the extent of what we got from this little slice of gameplay. I also kind of like that the gauntlet itself, it seems to have a personality of its own that is at odds with Musashi. I don't know, I think it could be kind of a fun little back and forth. But yeah, overall, I really enjoyed this. Like I said, I genuinely think this might be one of the prettiest games that Capcom has made. And we're still a ways away from this game even coming out, so I'm impressed. It's only gonna look even better as time goes on here. And it ran beautifully. All these games we play were on PS5 Pros, but I was very impressed with just how well and smoothly it ran. I will say one thing that I do hope happens is that I hope that there is a good amount of enemy variety. Because I will say from the bit we had here, there really was only like the one enemy type, which was the guy with the katana. We ran into a couple of other enemies, which were these floating head dudes that spit fire at us. And then I think there was like one lizard enemy, and then that was it. So it didn't give us a ton to sort of experiment with, though it did at the very least, because the enemies were so easy, it was nice. It did give us a chance to like really see what all the cool parry animations and dodge animations and like epic kills sort of looked like. But I hope the game continues to build up and ramp up and give us challenges as we go further down the line. The older Onimushas were fun, and they were, I wouldn't say generally hard games, but there was usually a lot of a jank that I feel like sort of accompanied the later parts in particular, especially with certain boss fights, just not feeling maybe totally thought out. But I have high hopes that that won't be an issue with the modern day Onimusha. I just hope that it doesn't lose its challenge in exchange for just feeling like a badass, you know? Because honestly, you'll feel like a badass just by doing anything in this game, but you feel like even more of a badass if you manage to pull something off in an epic way against an enemy that also is just tough as nuts. It's clear that the part we were playing was pretty early in the game, and this game is still a 2026 release, which is surprising that we'd be maybe just checking out the very early parts, because the later parts probably haven't been fully polished yet. But I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm looking forward to playing more of this game because I was just really happy that the game felt as good to play as it was to just watch and see like things happen. But anyway, I'll be back with some more videos describing my experiences with both Pragmata and Resident Evil 9, so look out for that. If y'all enjoyed this little deep dive and first-hand look at Onimusha, please do leave a like. It really does help me out. And maybe consider subscribing if you haven't already to become a picky penguin aboard the SLP, where the days are always sunny and the vids are always funny. Anyway, that's it for me now, guys. Thank you for watching, and as always, till next time, stay classy.